What's the most disgusting thing you ever caught someone doing? I'm a delivery driver in Antioch, California. Not the kind of job where you expect to see horror, but I've seen enough to last me a lifetime. You start to think you've seen it all, until you haven't. Homeless men at City Hall, washing up at the sinks, or worse. One guy, just standing in the street, pissing like the world stopped watching. Another day, outside Dairy Queen, a man holding the lid of a trash bin, exploding diarrhea into the street. Across from him, a kid, maybe 10, ice cream halfway to his mouth, eyes wide, frozen. That looks burned into my brain. Then there was the woman, 80 pounds, maybe, tweaked out, made eye contact, turned around, dropped her pants right there on the sidewalk. I didn't move, didn't speak, just kept driving. You see people living in ways that don't feel human anymore. Yards full of garbage, rats turning to bones over time, and the ones hooked on trank. You can smell the infection before you see it. Their skin, it looks like it's rotting off. You see them again a few weeks later, and sometimes, the limb's just gone. Every delivery feels like driving through a world that's quietly dying. And the truth is, I don't know if I've gotten used to it, or just gone numb. TLDR, I need therapy. What's your no one will ever believe this true story? I was almost abducted. I must have been 6. It was a warm afternoon, the kind where the sun makes everything feel safe. My mom had taken my sister and me to the park. Kids were laughing, swings creaking, birds chirping. It felt like any other day. There was a man there, nice looking, kind smile, not creepy in any obvious way. He helped me up when I missed the landing at the end of the slide. I remember giggling, brushing off the dirt, and hearing my mom say something like, "That was kind of him." For a while, everything was normal. My sister ran off to show my mom something she found, leaving me alone by the playground. That's when I noticed him again. He was standing by the pond, just past the trees, out of view. He smiled at me, then waved me over. I hesitated, but he seemed familiar now, safe, even. So I followed. He crouched near the water, poking at the grass with a stick. I remember his voice, soft, almost whispering. He told me I was very pretty and so mature for my age. Then he asked if I was only there with my sister. Before I could answer, I heard it, my mom's voice. Not calling, but screaming. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I froze. The man shot up, eyes wide, then bolted, cutting across the field and disappearing behind the trees. My mom was shaking, her face pale, tears already forming. She grabbed me so tight it hurt. I cried too, mostly because she was yelling, and she never yelled. It wasn't until years later that I realized what really happened. That man wasn't nice. He wasn't helping. He was waiting for me to be alone. I don't know what became of him. I think my mom reported it, but she never talked about it again. All I know is, if she hadn't turned around at that exact moment, I might have been one of those missing posters you see and never forget. The crisp autumn air was shattered by a vibration against my hip. A text from my wife, Eliza. It read, "I was almost kidnapped. My blood turned to ice." I called her, my hands shaking. Her voice was a thin wire of controlled terror. She was at the grocery store. A man, gaunt with hollow eyes, approached her. He stuttered, launching into a frantic sermon about how he died in a car wreck and seen Jesus. It felt performative, a recitation. But then she remembered his partner, another man. They had been moving through the stores separately, meeting up, then splitting again. A silent, predatory dance. And as the first man held her attention with his story of light, the second moved in from behind. Her instinct screamed. She sidestepped just as he closed in. He clumsily bumped her shoulder, and that's when she saw it. In his hand, a tiny, unlabeled spray bottle. The liquid inside was clear, but with a single, milky white droplet swirling inside, thin as water. The moment her eyes locked on it, their act shattered. The preacher fell silent. The man with the bottle looked at his partner, pure panic in his eyes. Without a word, they both turned and walked quickly out of the store. She was safe. She came home. The police took a report, but with no evidence, the case went cold. But for me, it's just the beginning. My research led me down a dark rabbit hole. That milky liquid, it could have been devil's breath, a drug that erases free will, or a potent opioid to incapacitate her in seconds. Their entire script, the sermon, the distraction, was designed to make her a perfect target. They were hunting. They had a method. And the fact that they fled the second she saw that bottle means its discovery was their only failure. My wife is safe, but the world feels thinner now. The question haunts the silence of our safe, warm home. What was in the bottle? And who were they, using the language of salvation to deliver something damned? The mystery remains. A chilling reminder that the most profound dangers often hide in plain sight. My name's Eli. I was 6 when the Parkers adopted me. My small hand swallowed by Mrs. Parker's as we walked up to a house that looked like a palace. The air smelled like lemon polish and cookies. I thought I was finally home. But to them, I was just the other one. A charity case. They had a daughter, Sophie, 2 years older, perfect grades, perfect smile, and every photo proved it. She stood in the middle, glowing. I was always at the edge, half cropped out, like I didn't belong. Dinner was the same every night. Mr. Parker would ask, "How was school, Sophie?" And they'd hang on her every word. Then came the silence, the kind that hurts. Finally, he'd glance at me and say, "Eli, pass the salt." One night, I tried to speak. "Daniel, my textbooks are falling apart. Could you help me get new ones?" He didn't even look up. "Not now, Eli. I've got things to do." A week later, Sophie got a brand new iPhone for being class president. Everyone clapped, even me, quietly. The only one who ever saw me was Grandpa Thomas. He'd hand me butterscotch candies and whisper, "Don't let them dim your light, boy. You're worth more than gold." When he passed, the house went cold. But at the will reading, he'd left everything to me. His cottage, his old blue Chevy. For once, I felt seen. A week later, Daniel called me in. Said there was a new will. My name, gone. Everything rewritten for Sophie. I left that house at 18 with nothing but Grandpa's words. Now, I'm 24. I run a small foundation, helping kids who were never chosen, never believed in. Last week, I drove past that old house. The paint was peeling, the lawn dying, but the cottage window, his window, still stood. And I smiled, because now I know. I've always been worth more than gold.